Hello again, vets, and welcome back to another segment of the Veterans Nation show here on Veterans Network. We're television online for America's veterans, and with me again is my illustrious co-host, Gloria O'Brien.
Hey, Rick. How you doing?
I'm good. Shall we kick this one?
We can dedicate.
I love the blue dress.
Oh, well, thank you.
Nice, yeah.
It's J. Crew, for those who are watching my fashion on the show.
Oh.
I know there's so many of you veterans interested in that.
Is that a plug? Is that by J.
No,
plug?
it just happens to be.
Oh, okay. All right, so I guess we'll dedicate today.
I think we should.
I think. I'd like to do the dedication today, and I'm just going to do it with a big, broad, honorable stroke. I'd like to dedicate this segment to all the United States Marine divisions, past and present. Thank you for all you have done for this country.
What would we do without the Marines?
Semper Fi. And that's coming from a U.S. Army infantry grunt, and believe me, I got all the respect in the world for you guys. Today, what do we got?
We've got a hot little subject going, don't we?
I think we do.
It's all about the VA. It's about getting care elsewhere. And what are the ins and outs of figuring out how to do that?
Right. And this is this new Veterans Choice program.
Yes.
Designed to, make life easier for vets that, have to travel far and are having hard times getting appointments. They're trying to reduce the wait time, which they certainly should be doing. And doesn't this have an official name? What's the official of the act or something?
It's the Veterans Choice Program, but it's part of the Veterans Access, Choice, and Accountability Act of 2014.
Got it. So
should we say who sponsored that bill?
No.
Because they always do.
You know what? Every time
I
get an email from the House or Senate, it'll always say sponsored by Republican, Democrat, and you know what? We don't need to blow smoke, and we don't need stars of the program, They should be working as a team.
They should be.
Getting it done, and just, we don't need to name names. I mean, hey, in the military, and the Senate and the House can always learn from our military. In military, you send a unit out on a mission to take out an enemy position, and they do so. And when you get the report doesn't read, well, the mission starred Private First Class John Smith and Lance Corporal Willie Jones and Staff Sergeant Edgar James or whatever.
With co-starring billing, too.
Right. No, they say a unit from the 1st Division went out and took out an enemy position. Bam! And they did it as a team, as a unit. Hello.
Couldn't our government learn from teamwork building exercises like the military has to do?
Yeah, and as many of you vets out there already know also, is right now, today, we have the lowest percentage of veterans serving in the Senate and House in Washington. Lower than ever.
We should change that.
I think we should have like a summer camp. Everybody, every last one of them has to go out for a month, send them to Fort Benning or wherever, Fort Bragg, or Camp Lejeune, and let them hump for a month and learn how to work as a team.
Wow.
Yeah, see how many come.
That's quite the fantasy.
See how many come back with party lines,
Right. Yes. Yeah. That would really help things.
Because there's only one color in the military, baby, and that is green. Yeah.
That's right.
Unless it's Navy.
Well.
Okay, blue.
Everyone bleeds red.
Air Force, yes. Gray. But we all bleed red blood.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do. So we're going to kick this thing around and weed it out. I've talked to a lot of vets recently who have asked me questions about it, and I go, wow, I'm always getting on the phone calling the National Veterans Foundation to get their take. And it is a little complicated, and it's not as easy as just saying, oh, I'm just going to go to my doctor, make an appointment, get myself checked out, and then turn the bill over to the VA and say, here you go.
It won't work.
No, it's,
Nope.
It's like the military. There's a system.
You have to get in the system. You have to get approved. You have to go through the steps.
You got to do the business.
And you have to know what you can and cannot do.
Right.
And Dave Culmer is going to tell us about that, isn't
We're going to get Dave Culmer on the phone, our good buddy, 25-year service officer. And Dave was 22 years working at the VA before that. So
he really knows his way
he's
around.
our go-to guy. We call him the book. He is the book. So let's get Dave on the call. Let's pick his brain.
Hi, this is Dave Culmer. Can we help you?
Hello, Dave Culmer. This is Rick Seaman and Gloria O'Brien calling you.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, how are you guys?
You're great.
Good.
Good to hear from you.
Yeah, well, as always, Dave. And, every now and then we have to turn to the book
Dave the Book Culmer.
on VA benefit information. And we wanted to kick around this new Veterans Choice program.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right, which is new for 2014. And as you know, we know it's about... Well, Dave, how about you kick it right off and just tell us...
Yeah, tell us what that's
Give
about.
us the highlights. Go ahead.
Okay, what we have is a combining of essentially two different programs. Both, the bottom line is the same for the veteran, which means veterans can receive VA medical treatment from private sources paid by the Department of Veterans Affairs. That's the bottom line. Total package, okay?
Right.
One has always been veterans who lived a certain mileage distance, usually 40 miles, from a VA medical facility, who had service-connected disabilities, who could receive, with authorization prior by the VA medical facility, treatment at a private doctor.
Okay.
By the VA.
Okay, but let's back up on that, Dave.
Sure.
Is this only for those with service-connected disabilities?
That is correct. That's correct.
Okay.
That program, that is correct.
That is a big one. So if I'm a vet, and let's say I've been out for 10 years, I've never got into the system, I don't have a VA health card, but now I need a doctor, and I don't want to wait, 120 days like I keep hearing everyone has to wait. I want to go to my own doctor. What's my status?
You want the short answer?
Yeah, no.
Give me the short answer.
Forget it.
Really?
Okay.
And why is that?
And that's because I'm not service connected primarily.
Correct. And
Okay.
as you indicated, you are not in the VA medical system by virtue of having been on board and having an identification card, which is good to any VA medical facility in the country.
So you have to do that first.
You've got to be on board first. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And if
And most importantly, your condition must be a condition adjudicated by the Veterans Administration as a service-related or service-connected disability.
Right. So in other words, if you're service connected for a leg injury received in combat or whatever, that's the only thing this new program applies to then.
Not necessarily, no, because as I said, there are two programs and they're combined, so the other program is a little bit different, which we'll go into in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, one other quick question, Dave. If I'm in this service-connected category, which sounds like it's the most favorable to be in, are we talking, when we say 40 miles, are we talking 40 miles from a VA regional medical facility or 40 miles from a local VA clinic?
Well, the term regional applies to the administrative leg or arm of the VA like a regional office, the administrative offices where claims are processed and filed. So the word administrative does not necessarily apply to a medical facility.
So a medical facility, whether it's, like some towns have, like Oxnard, California, for instance, which is 65 miles from the VA hospital in Westwood.
Right.
A lot of guys up in that area go to that clinic. Is that a clinic that could handle their case if they're going to go through this program?
Yes, absolutely. However, if that clinic cannot provide a kidney transplant, then they would have to go to a facility that provides a kidney transplant other than the VA medical facility. I only use kidney transplant
Right.
to explain that is excessive for the clinic there.
Right. In other words, if you're going to a clinic, they must be equipped to handle your particular
Your issue.
your medical problem.
And if they aren't, you have to get pre-approval before you go to a specialty facility?
That is correct. That is correct. You got to get prior approval from the VA so that when you go, the VA will pick up the tab for your treatment.
Now, doesn't that put the person in the same kind of roundabout, waiting for approval, waiting for appointments? Or is the approval done on the phone or in a different way?
I can give you a phone number for approval if you would like that you can call, and this is non-VA medical care office.
Okay, and that's definitely bolted onto this program?
Oh, absolutely. This is specifically for treatment at a non-VA medical facility.
Okay, so if I'm inquiring whether or not I'm eligible or not, this would be my first step.
That is correct.
Let's get that number. Go ahead and run it by us, Dave.
It's a 1-877-222 VETS, but we don't worry about the letters. We want the numbers, the digits. The last four are 8387. So once again, the phone number is 877-222-8387. Now, that's a national number for non-VA medical care office treatment.
Okay.
Okay, so, now you were going to tell me about another side of this that I think does not involve service-connected. Is that correct?
Well, no, it's also service-connected. It's also service-connected. And this program, the eligibility is a significant factor in the overall ability to receive treatment. Now, if you guys will bear with me, I'd like to read these couple of lines to you so I don't screw it up, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Basic eligibility. The hurdles to gain easy access to non-VA care go beyond how far veterans reside from a VA clinic or how long their wait for care. To be eligible, veterans must have enrolled in a VA health care by August the 1st of 2014, or if they enroll later, they must have served on active duty in a theater of combat operations within 5 years of enrolling. Now, that's only going to a few people, because most guys have been in the system before August of 2014.
Right.
But if you have not, then you need to have been in a theater of combat operations within 5 years of the date you enrolled. So if a guy's been out 8 years and he is enrolling, he's not been in a 5-year time span of a period of combat operations. So he would not qualify.
Right. So, Dave, let me run with that real quick.
Yeah.
Hold your list. So for our veterans, here you are, you're back from Afghanistan, you've been home a year or two. Remember, 5 years.
You better get signed up and in the
So
system there.
don't mess around and get enrolled, even if there's nothing wrong with you right now.
Exactly.
Get enrolled.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Very important. All
Yes.
right. Go ahead, Dave, and continue.
Okay. let's see. The other program, the old program was, if a veteran lived more than 40 miles away from the Veterans Administration VA Medical Center or clinic, OPC, outpatient clinic, or community-based outpatient clinic, CBOC, any VA medical facility, you live more than 40 miles away, okay? Veterans who reside more than 40 miles from a VA medical facility or who must travel by air, boat, or ferry to access VA care are offered non-VA care instead. VA is to use geodetic distance, or the shortest route between 2 points, or, if you like, as the crow flies. VA's early estimate is that 500,000 veterans will qualify for this. So what we're talking about, bottom line, condensed, boiled down to its finest common denominator, if you live more than 40 miles away from any VA medical facility, you can call that number to ask for VA medical treatment funded by the VA through a private doctor's office or clinic.
Okay. Now, where do you go for your initial examination in that case?
Well, when you say initial examination...
So let's say here I am. I'm that vet again that's been home for 2-3 years. I'm in the 5-year bracket. I'm over 40 miles away.
Right.
And all of a sudden I think I have something that might even be service-connected going wrong with me or whatever. Won't I have to get an examination from the VA to get the ball rolling?
Because of the variables and the newness of the program, Rick, I can't answer that question.
Okay, so
we don't really know.
When you call, these are the things that will have to be determined when you call because of the newness of the program.
Okay, so this sounds like the GI Bill of recent years. It had some bugs in it that had to be worked out.
Exactly, because it's so new and because of the Phoenix scandal and the death of so many veterans, they're trying to do what they can to facilitate better and quicker treatment for veterans. And of course, the 40-mile distance. And it also says that if you live less than 40 miles, it does not preclude the capacity to receive treatment. So now we're under 40 miles for treatment, so it's not 40 miles, and that's a cutoff. If you live less than 40 miles, you can also apply for treatment.
So it depends on the situation on a case-by-case basis, is what you're saying, possibly?
So
exactly.
So can we decipher this by saying, if you're over 40 miles, you got some leeway there, right?
Got some leeway there. Get on the horn and call and give them everything they want to know about you to see if they will authorize treatment through private medical.
Right. But if you're service connected, the 40 mile rule goes out the window, right? If you're service connected?
No, because that can be the service connected disability.
So instead of saying no, it should be yeah, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So if you're service connected, throw the 40-mile-an-hour rule out the window, right?
Right. Well, I mean, you can't be across the street from a medical facility and go to a private doctor.
Oh! But there's a small variable. You're not saying if you're 10 miles, you probably have to go to the VA. But if you're 35 miles and it's a hardship and it's a difficult travel, then they might go ahead and let you go somewhere else, is what you're saying.
Gloria, that's where it's at. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it still generally 40, but there are some exceptions?
That is correct again. Yes.
Okay. Now, Dave, let me just hit on this list again that I have here. We know about service connected. That's a leg up. That's a leg up. How about military retired? 20-year military retirement. Does that give you a leg up?
Guys who are retired, who need medical care and treatment, and who have service-connected disabilities, basically are in the same boat.
And they're probably already in the system.
Yes, oh yes, they would certainly be in the DEERS system, right.
Right, but what about the guy that's militarily retired? He was in Korean War, right?
Sure.
20 years in the military. Now he's 70-some years old, and he wants to see a doctor. Does him being military retired, starting from scratch, give him any leg up at all?
Well, I would call that number if he is not on board with the VA to see if his military retirement would afford him the opportunity to be seen by private medical based on the mileage from a VA medical facility.
Okay.
Okay.
So being militarily retired, really, if he's not over 40 miles, it might not even be a leg up.
Correct.
Okay. Now, would that apply to militarily medically retired? Which I think you almost would have to be in the system if you're militarily medically retired, right, Dave?
Yes, you are, because you're medically retired, and in so many cases, veterans who are medically retired from the military will come to the Veterans Administration and apply for compensation from the VA.
Right, right.
Is if the Veterans Administration pays a greater dollar amount to compensate for your military retired status, you can elect to receive VA compensation and waive the military retired pay.
Right, right. And we've done shows with you about on that, on Veterans News,
yes, Veterans
TV Hour, so that stuff's all in our archives. Dave giving us all the skinny about all those categories.
And also, Dave, you're being treated for a service-connected disability. What happens if you have another condition? You have to get a separate approval for each condition? Or you starting over? If you have a condition that isn't service-connected, then you have all these issues. Do you have to do it separately for each approval?
Okay, so you're service-connected for your right elbow, and now the left ankle becomes service-connected. At the time that award letter is given showing a left ankle service-connected disability, which is number 2, you then would need treatment for that, which would be a matter of record when you ask for treatment for that condition because it's now service-connected.
But to initially get that left ankle brought into your file, you have to go to the VA and get approval, right?
That is correct.
So you still have to wait for that appointment at a VA doctor then?
Well, if you have sufficient medical records or treatment from the military or from, again, let's say you thought you had an arthritic condition and it was brought on from excessive sports or jumping off a 155 howitzers as a reloader, and that's what injured your ankle, and it's service-connected, and you have sufficient medical records, attach that to the request to the Veterans Administration for an additional service-connected disability for your left ankle.
Okay.
Right.
So each one has to be approved, each
They
condition.
can adjudicate based on that medical evidence if it's sufficient.
Okay.
They will examine you, and upon examination, will determine the condition is there and it's service-connected, so now you have a second service-connected disability.
Okay. So that still has to be done at the VA initially, correct?
Right, or they can send you on a QTC examination. Now it's different than QTC. It's another four-letter acronym, which I forget what it is, but it's for the same thing, to be seen by a private doctor for a service-connected disability because the VA cannot examine every veteran for each service-connected disability because of simply the volume. So they farm it out to private sector. And when the doctor's report comes back to the VA, they make a determination on if it's service-connected.
Okay.
Right. Now, okay, so here's one. I call the VA, just a general number because I'm not educated like I'm hoping everybody out there will be after this phone call with you, Dave, but I just call the VA office. I want to see a doctor. And they tell me I can get an appointment at, say, Westwood VA Center here in LA, and I can get an appointment in 3 months. Now, does the VA have any time frame that they consider now, today, to be unacceptably too long? Like, if they told me 3 days or a week, that wouldn't sound too bad because I'm in pain and I need help. Does the VA have a standard now? Have they set a standard like what they feel is too long to wait?
Generally, 30 days is a number that the VA does not want to go beyond with regard to scheduling veterans for appointments.
Right, and it's not like they don't want to go beyond it because they're compassionate. They can't go. They don't want to go beyond it because of the system's just the way it is. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And because of the Phoenix system of hiding the scheduling that caused a lot of veterans to expire because of the long wait time it took for them to be seen by a doctor. So given that information, the VA, they generally use 30 days as a rule of thumb that you should not, under any conditions, have to wait longer than a month to see a doctor in any of the multitude of clinics that exist by the VA.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Well, I think we're, like you say, Dave, many times you've said to us, this could be a sticky wicket.
This could be a sticky wicket. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, well, here's my, do you feel like we've covered everything? Have I missed anything, Dave?
I'm racking my brain to see if there's anything that I can think of that might be of significant importance to the troops and to the ladies that are listening and watching. I can't think of anything else. The bottom line is to call that number that we talked about earlier, and that will give them more information than you can imagine, because that's really where the action is. And all of the information that is available is going to be maintained by the people that answer that phone. And once again, that number is 877-222-8387. In case you joined the program late, you don't have to re-rack the program to catch the number from the beginning.
That's one of the most important things I think we got here is getting that hotline direct.
Call it, get set up.
Call it and fasten your seatbelt, right? Get
like
ready.
all health insurance, in private health insurance, you go through this too before a big surgery or even after an injury. You have to wade through mountains of approvals and paperworks and stuff, and you have to be persistent.
Yes.
You have to keep at it so you don't get lost in the system. And if you need help, ask for help.
Right. And
someone like Dave to help you.
Right. And Dave, just like in the military, you got to go through the first sergeant and, you know.
work your way through the system.
You got to go work your way through the chain of command. And so as veterans, we should be used to that.
Yeah.
While at the same time, we certainly want to be compassionate and understand that when somebody's not well, when they're ill,
it's hard.
It's hard. It's tough. Look at PTSD and suicides and all this, and we've talked about this on many of our shows. Dave, can I get a little political with you for a sec?
Sure you can.
All right. I thought you might like this. Here's my question. Do you think this new program is in fact an improvement, or should we ask, is this a significant improvement, or is this just an applied Band-Aid to take the heat off the VA?
I think both, Rick.
That's the answer I expected, and I think you're right. I think it is both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Politicians are politicians, They'll pee in your face and they'll conclude that they need to create a panel to discuss why you weren't given an umbrella.
Oh, no, Dave.
I love it. Words of wisdom from Dave Culmer. I love it. So, Dave, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dave.
You're always a big help and a pleasure to talk to. I love you, buddy.
Yeah, it's always good to be able to help, and I hope that we have been able to help. That's the bottom line, is helping. So.
Right. Now, and here again, let me just close out. I'd like to get something off my chest here, if you don't mind. And if you agree with me, you can agree with me. If you think I'm blowing green smoke, let me know. But, in the military, if you went to your first sergeant and you said, Top Sarge, my mom is very ill. back home. I know we're deployed here, we're in a combat deployment, can you help me? Well, in most cases, and Dave, you've been there in the Marines, you know, in most cases I think you'd be back in the States with your mom within a few days. You know, I mean, our military's tough, and it's badass, it has to be, but our military had and still has a heart.
Yeah.
So when we look at our suffering veterans today, and we look at our government and the VA system, it makes me want to know, where's the heart, where's the soul, and where in the hell is a government that bends over backwards for the men and women who fight for our freedom and for all the big government paychecks?
Yeah.
You got it. You got it, Rick. Don't get me started, because one of the problems I have written about, I've stated this 100 times, there is no penalty for failure in this government.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shinseki, the past director of the Department of Veterans Affairs, after they nailed his shoes to the floor in Senate hearings, 4 times he was asked the question, if you caught an employee with their hands in the cash register putting money in their pocket, after the 4th time he was asked this question, and would he punish the person, Shinseki, the past administrator of the VA, dropped his head and said, I can't.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's no reason, no real deterrent other than that it's very wrong.
There is no penalty for failure in this government.
And yet the penalty for failure in the military can mean drastic things to our country.
It can
Let's
be,
You know?
face it, it can mean death under
Yes.
certain circumstances.
Oh,
absolutely.
Okay?
Dave
Don't
Culmer.
say anything short of death.
Yes.
But in the government, well, we'll convene a panel, we'll look into it, we'll check it, we'll let them retire with full benefits. Or they promise not to do it again. You know?
Right, yeah.
Yep.
There is no incentive for a person who has a willingness to do wrong for whatever reason for them not to do wrong, because there really is no real harsh penalty.
So we need more levels of fixes.
Yeah.
And this is a beginning, but we still have problems.
Yeah.
Yep. I think we need more veterans in the Senate and the House, which we all know that. But, Dave, I'm just glad we have people to turn to like yourself who've got the compassion.
Great. Good.
Thanks, Dave.
Hey, you bet, guys. Always here for you.
I salute you, Dave. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
You got it. So long, and thanks a mil.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Okay, vets, I hope that was helpful. It was.
It sure cleared some stuff up for me.
It gave me some education, yeah.
But
And,
boy, you've got to call that number, and you've got to get signed up,
That's
and
it.
you need to get in the system. And don't wait.
call that number.
Yeah.
You know, fight it, go after it. We know how to do it.
You've earned it. You deserve
Yeah.
to be taken care
Yeah.
of, and you have to fight for it, just like you had to fight for everything else.
That's what we do. That's what we did. We're going to keep on doing it. Thank you, vets.
Thank you.
See you again soon. Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you, Rick.
And welcome home, everybody.
Welcome home.